Many ingredients combine to make soccer the most popular game in the world. But although polished teamwork is a joy to watch, and individual skills might captivate millions, such displays are pointless unless they are a means to a definite end. In soccer, that end is always the same: the scoring of goals. For the last 25 years have seen a steady decline in goal scoring at all levels, as the style of the game has gradually changed throughout the world. This goal famine could be regarded as the major symptom of an ailing game. The antidote for this condition has been formulated from a detailed study of soccer, a study spanning more than 20 years and involving the analysis of hundreds of games at every significant level. The results are consistent and clearly indicate the way ahead. We feel the time has come to reassess the current style of the game and to move on to a fresh and positive approach to soccer. An approach we call the winning formula. All teams should be capable of making effective attacking movements down the flanks. The flank is the area of the pitch where most attacks will be deflected, and it is also the area where most space will be available. It should be remembered that a cross from a flank is a pass. Therefore, the principles for effective passing remain paramount. The first requirement is to pass the ball to the back of the defence. The first and most important objective in crossing the ball is to get it to the back of the defence and into the prime target area. The prime target area is roughly 8 yards by 20. It is an area the width of the 6-yard box and extends from 2 yards inside the 6-yard box to the penalty spot. The prime target area is where the crossed ball should be timed to arrive before the recovering defenders. The prime target area is also too far out for the goalkeeper to be able to deal with the situation. Attacking players should seek to create a situation in which the ball is crossed into the prime target area and defenders are trying to clear the ball facing their own goal, whilst being challenged by attackers. Analysis shows that 82% of goals from crosses are scored from the prime target area. If flank players are obsessed with reaching the goal line before releasing the ball or floating crosses in, then the number of goals scored from crosses will be greatly reduced. Flank players should look to release the ball early, if necessary, from wide and deep positions. A wide position could be within a yard or so of the touchline. A deep position could be just inside the attacking third of the field. It is not always necessary for the flank player to dribble past a challenging defender before crossing the ball. A good player will constantly observe the unfolding situation with special attention to 3 factors: space available, position of defenders, and the position of attackers. Observation of the prime target area should be made early. If the area is clear of defenders, then the ball should be crossed without delay. There are only 2 defenders who merit special consideration. First, the immediate opponent. How near or far the immediate opponent is will affect the timing of the cross and the technique used to cross the ball. Second, the position of the goalkeeper. With all crosses from whatever position, the important thing is to eliminate the goalkeeper. It is helpful to know where a good goalkeeper should be positioned in relation to the ball. The nearer the ball is to the touchline, the more likely it is that the goalkeeper will position himself in the back half of his goal. The nearer the ball is to the penalty area, the greater is the likelihood of a direct angled shot. Therefore, the goalkeeper will want to position himself in the front half of the goal. Attacking players in central positions must ensure that they get on the end of the cross and produce a strike at goal. It is worth remembering that as far as defenders are concerned, 50-50 situations are not acceptable in the prime target area. The cross should give defenders the minimum amount of time to recover and the maximum amount of difficulty in playing the ball. In essence, this means a cross hit to the back of the defence with pace. Crosses hit with pace in the air but below head height are ideal for diving headers. Pace is important to allow defenders as little time as possible in which to recover. It also ensures that any contact on the ball from an attacking player will automatically have the pace to score. There are 4 factors for attacking players to consider in attacking the prime target area. 1. Initial movement before the cross. The movement of the attacker should be away from the defender and the ball. The movement should be as far forward as possible without being offside. 2. Timing of the run. The timing of the run, to be first to the ball, should be as late as possible and as fast as possible. If the ball is in the air, it is much easier to control with a header than with a boot. Three, angle of the run. The chances of making a successful contact on the ball are greatly increased if the angle of the run can be made to bring the attacker into the line of the ball. Running across the line of the ball will make a good contact much more difficult. Four, contact with the ball. Contact should be made through the top half of the ball to ensure that it goes down. If there are 2 attackers, one should attack the front half of the prime target area and the other the back half. Analysis shows that attacks in the area of the far post will pay the highest dividends. 22.4% of all goals are scored at the far post. Of these, the majority are scored from 6 yards or less from goal. There are 3 main possibilities for crosses from the goal line. 1. A driven pass across the face of the goal. One situation is when the player has outpaced the defence and is positioned on the goal line with the defenders recovering at speed but still incorrectly positioned in the 6-yard area. Another situation is when the defending players have recovered into the 6-yard area, but there is space available between the 6-yard area and the edge of the penalty area. 2. The lofted cross to the far post. As with all types of crosses, the first requirement is to eliminate the goalkeeper. To eliminate the goalkeeper, the ball must be lofted over his head. Also, the ball must be played with pace towards the target area. The target area should be at the far post, 2 or 3 yards out from goal for a direct header at goal. 3. Crosses beyond the far post. Sometimes it will be necessary to make crosses beyond the far post in either wide or deep positions. These crosses will be from positions near to the goal line and out towards the touchline, and will be needed when the prime target area is populated with defenders and the goalkeeper is positioned in the back half of his goal. This type of cross is more likely to be over a distance of at least 40 yards and maybe more. The attacker receiving the pass should realise that he will be unlikely to score from a deep or wide position. He has 2 alternatives. One is to head the ball back across the goal to the mid-goal or far post area. The other is to head the ball across the face of the goal. In the strategy of direct play, crosses are a vital element. Great rewards await the team which not only makes more crosses, but makes them early and into the prime target area. Headers account for a high percentage of goals. Overall, the statistic is 21.5%. But when it comes to crosses, the figures show that over 64% of goals are scored from headers. The ability to make attacking headers is a considerable asset for any player in any team. It is impossible to be a good header of the ball and to lack courage. Attacking players must look to get into the danger areas. The desire to seize a scoring opportunity must outweigh any consideration for their personal safety. It is this factor of personal courage that will catapult the player into a situation where his heading technique can be used to best advantage. Such players are extremely difficult to play against, and they are always likely to win a match out of nothing. That likelihood will increase as the strategic pendulum swings towards direct play. Just as it will decrease as it swings away towards possession football. The player should have the basic desire to strike the ball with his head. 4 basic aspects of technique should be perfected. 1. Technique for contact to give accuracy. Contact should be through the top half of the ball and should be made by the forehead. The player must keep his eyes open and look through the ball. 2. Technique for exerting power to the ball. Body momentum imparts force on the ball. This momentum is created from 2 important types of body movement. First, the arching of the back to act as a lever, bringing the head forward to strike, adding force and power to the ball. Second, extension followed by flexion of the neck. This is a complementary movement to the arching of the back and forms the head of the lever, adding force with a firm nodding movement of the neck and head. 3. technique for exerting power through leaping to attack the ball. Additional power to that achieved by arching of the back and extension of the neck muscles can be added by running and leaping to meet the ball. Enormous force can be created in this way. The greater the running speed, the greater the potential force imparted onto the ball. 4. Technique for exerting power through diving to attack the ball. The greatest power that can be imparted by the head onto the ball comes from the diving header, especially if the dive follows on from a short sprint. The body momentum is catapulted towards the ball and the full body weight is transferred into the impact on the ball. As it is quite often the only means of reaching the ball, diving headers often produce goals from what, at best, could only be described as half chances. More goals could be scored from crosses if attacking players were better at two things: getting into scoring positions and taking chances for heading goals. The prime task of a central attacker is to ensure that he is first to the ball. His second task is to put the ball in the net. Central attackers should be aware of three movements to outwit and wrong-foot their markers. This is a simple technique of moving backwards and away from the area of the ball. The central defender must keep the ball and his immediate opponent in view. His immediate opponent will make that task more difficult by moving backwards, away from the area of the ball. His movement must be backwards but facing the ball in order to observe play on the ball and the movement of his marker. He need only move 3 or 4 yards, but he should be as far forward as possible without being offside. Here he is just onside. His marker may now lose sight of him and be completely distracted by the movement of the ball. The attacker with the ball beats the defender and prepares to cross the ball into the space where attacker number 9 is now in an excellent position to attack the ball on the blind side of his marker, that is, behind him. Gary Lineker pulls away from the central defender to create the space to score from Peter Beardsley's cross. The best way to attack defenders without the ball is to run at them and past them into the space beyond them. A closely marked attacker making a run to meet a cross, especially if it is in the prime target area, should check his stride. Quite simply stop and start. Even without a change of direction, just that one movement will create 2 or 3 yards of space and enable him to be first to the ball. The whole task of attackers moving in for a strike on goal is to ensure that it is they, not the defenders, who are first to the ball. This is sometimes achieved by getting behind defenders. Sometimes by getting in front of defenders. But always it is achieved by getting away from defenders. Understanding when to make the various movements is most important of all. That is the quality which produces timing, without which all else fails. The general principles for heading for goal are exactly the same as for shooting for goal with the feet. Headers to the far post are usually more difficult for goalkeepers to save because the ball is going away from the goalkeeper. Power without placement does not always produce the best results. Headers going down and away from the goalkeeper are the most difficult of all to save. One, near post headers. Headers at the near post must sometimes be steered or deflected towards the goal. Sometimes body momentum will produce a power header. The position of the goalkeeper and the available space will almost always be a factor. When goals are scored at the near post, there is invariably an element of error on the part of the goalkeeper. When the best goalkeepers are beaten, it is usually at the far, not the near post. Two, mid-goal headers. Mid-goal headers are easier to get on target because the attacker is in front of goal. There is little or no element of deflecting, and therefore more power can usually be generated into the header. 3. Far post headers. With far post headers, it is even more important to observe the position of the goalkeeper. Sometimes the far post area will be completely open, with the goalkeeper totally stranded as a result of indecision. On other occasions, the goalkeeper will be moving into the area of the far post, having moved 6 or 7 yards across his goal. At the far post, a power header is frequently required. Balls headed down are likely to prove the most difficult to save. 4. Diving headers. Our analysis shows that 64% of goals from crosses are scored with headers. Overall, 65% of headed goals come from contact on the ball made below head height. Therefore, diving headers are of great importance. At every level of the game, goals are there for the taking, for the player with the courage, determination, and the skill to perform diving headers. Five, flicked headers. Flicked or glancing headers sometimes produce goals or scoring chances. These situations are difficult for goalkeepers, especially when they come from set plays. Sometimes the flicked header from a set play will create a scoring chance rather than scoring direct. All successful teams have aerial power. Good headers of the ball win matches and are an essential component of the winning formula. No amount of direct play alone will win matches without good finishing. The standard of shooting must be of a high caliber. A team could markedly increase its chances of winning games if shots at goal would be taken at every opportunity. We looked at our sample of 109 matches involving 6 countries, all of which have either won the World Cup or been runners-up over the last 20 years. Apart from the Liverpool matches, all are either World Cup or European Cup internationals at senior, under-21 or under-16 levels. In the case of Liverpool, a random selection was made of championship and cup matches played between 1984 and 1988. Each of the sample batches of games yielded these totals of goals. We counted the number of shots at goal in every game and related them to the number of goals scored. The analysis showed the average number of shots in each game to be 13.3. The average ratio of shots to goals was 1 to 7.2. That is to say, just 7 shots for every goal. In the 6 World Cup final matches, played between 1966 and 1986, 27 goals were scored. The total number of shots at goal for the 6 matches was 159, an average of 13.3 per game. This gave a ratio of shots to each goal of 1 to 5.9. So even at this, the very pinnacle of world soccer, the average number of shots needed to score a goal was only just under 6 in every game. A team that can achieve 10 shots on target in a game will very rarely lose the match. Statistics indicate that 10 shots on target in a match give an 85.7% chance of winning. In the hundreds of matches we have analysed, we have never recorded a single game in which a team had 10 shots on target and lost the match. There are 3 main reasons why opportunities are missed. 1. Fear. The basic fear is not of shooting, but of missing. This mental state can be brought about by crowds, coaches, teammates, and even parents. Fear, of course, may be physical as well, often leading to indecision. Physical contact is part of the game, and players must accept that as a fact. 2. Lack of vision. Players who play with their heads down will not see opportunities for shooting. In and around the penalty area, it is most important to be able to see situations quickly. Many opportunities occur for a first-time shot. To take first-time shots, however, a player needs to orientate himself and to know not only where the goal is, but also the position of the goalkeeper. Three, lack of speed. Speed is a great asset in and around the penalty area. Speed of thought as well as movement. All players will become quicker if they are placed in realistic practice situations. Not because they will necessarily move any faster, but because they will pick up the cues more quickly. There are 4 basic factors to consider. 1. Criticism. However bad the shot, credit should always be given for attempting it. The main criticism should be directed at those players who do not seize the opportunity to shoot. Criticism which is not constructive is worthless. Worse still, it can be damaging. The point about criticism is this: a better attitude towards criticism will produce a better atmosphere for learning.
Good space for yourself, Luther. Good, you made good space. Okay, Steve. Now, when you come off, yeah? Stay off, Steve. You were well off when he had the ball. Now, as he starts to close down, the keeper's blind, okay? Yeah, you're edging across now because you know what I'm going to do. That's right, but he's blind to start with. That's the time up in that corner. As he's closing down, as the keeper's blind, round the defender, his shot's going in, getting him caught out blind. Okay, look for it.
2. Aggression. Aggression is an act of self-assertion in seizing the initiative. When it comes to shooting, aggression is also an act of seizing the responsibility to try for a goal. 3. Relevant practice. Shooting techniques need to be perfected in practice.
Super, lovely.
The time devoted to correct shooting practice will never be wasted. Of all the things to be practiced, shooting is the most important. 4. Courage. Shooting normally demands a degree of physical courage. The point to remember, for those who are afraid, is that the real situation is not as bad as they imagine. There can be little doubt that the strategy of direct play will produce more shooting opportunities. In our 109 match sample, we analysed the passing movement before every shot at goal. Out of a total of 1,448 shots, only 214, 14.8%, resulted from 6 consecutive passes or more. But 1,234 shots followed on from movements of 5 consecutive passes or less, 85.2%. On average, only 1 shot per team, per game, came from 6 consecutive passes or more. In the 6 World Cup finals, there were 159 shots at goal. Only 13, 8.2%, came after 6 consecutive passes or more. But the number of shots following on from 5 consecutive passes or less was 146, 91.8%. Once again, this would indicate that the more important the game, the more the likelihood that critical situations will come out of low numbers of consecutive passing movements. The strategy of direct play will also produce more set play situations in the attacking third of the field. From these set plays, scoring opportunities will occur, some direct from the set play. Others will be secondary scoring opportunities. Many of those opportunities will fall to players who only go forward into the opposition penalty area for set plays. These players should receive plenty of shooting practice in realistic situations. Analysis shows that a high percentage of shots miss the target. In our sample of 109 games, 52.8% of all shots missed the target. There are 3 ways of missing the goal. 1. Over the crossbar. This is the worst type of inaccuracy because it leaves no possibility of secondary scoring chances from deflections. 2. Wide of the near post. This will offer some chance of a deflection, provided the shot is of head height or below. 3. Wide of the far post. An enormous number of secondary scoring chances occur at the far post. In fact, approximately 1 goal in 4 is scored in the area of the far post. Many of these goals come from a deflection. It is important to remember that very few shots are taken from directly in front of goal. Almost all shots are at an angle and therefore afford the possibility to aim for the far post. Shots coming across defenders are likely to be deflected towards the far post or into the goal as the defenders lunge to make contact with the ball. If a player shoots wide of the goal, then it is best if his shot is wide of the far post. Shots on the ground are more difficult to save than shots that are in the air. A goalkeeper will reach a ball at waist height or above much more easily than at ground level. At shoulder height, the ball might be reached by stretching out one arm. At ground level or just above ground level, the goalkeeper will have to move his whole body to save the ball. If a goalkeeper can place his body in the line of flight of the ball, he will do so. Shots to the near post will always give the goalkeeper a better chance of getting into the line of flight than shots to the far post. If the goalkeeper has to reach for a shot at the near post and fails to hold the ball, it will probably fall to safety. Shots going away from the goalkeeper are a very different proposition. If the ball is going away from the goalkeeper, it is clearly more difficult for him to place himself in the line of flight and virtually impossible for him to get his body behind the ball. Therefore, a goalkeeper who is reaching for a ball which is going away from him is much less likely to be able to hold the ball. If the goalkeeper fails to hold a ball travelling to the far post, the consequences are likely to be serious. Equally, it will be difficult for a goalkeeper to knock away to safety a ball that is travelling away from him. Therefore, the area of the far post is the prime scoring area, as more goals are scored there than in any other area in and around the penalty box. This means that low shots and shots to the far post are of great importance. These shots are difficult for goalkeepers to hold, and rebounds often occur. That possibility is increased if the swerving and power shots are directed towards the far post. Our analysis of goals scored from outside the penalty area can be broken down as follows. Volley shots, 11.8%. Ground shots, 88.2%. Right foot shots, 70%. Left foot shots, 30%. Power shots are of the utmost importance and have several advantages. They may score direct. The goalkeeper may be unsighted. This is always a possibility because there are likely to be large numbers of players, defenders and attackers between the shooter and the goal. A shot coming through a crowd of players may take a deflection and wrong foot the goalkeeper. The goalkeeper may fail to hold the ball and a secondary scoring chance could occur. A secondary scoring opportunity can be produced by a defender other than the goalkeeper blocking the ball. The first step in increasing the number of shots in a game is to improve the willingness of players to shoot from outside the penalty area. When players approach to within 30 yards or so of the goal, there are only three options open to them. They might interpass, dribble or run with the ball, or shoot. Of these three options, the one that will pay the most dividends the most often is to shoot. A high percentage of shooting chances inevitably occur from dropping or bouncing balls in the penalty area. Most of these fall into the category of half chance. However, half chances often win matches. If an improvement is to be made on the totals of shots at goal, then half chances must be grabbed and attempted. The strategy of direct play increases the number of opportunities for shooting at goal. Many of these opportunities will be volleys and half volleys. Players need to practice taking these types of shot and must learn to adjust their body position quickly to make contact through the top half of the ball. Far too many shots go over the crossbar. If contact is made through the top half of the ball, one thing can be guaranteed: it will never go over the crossbar. 16.8% of all goals are volleys by foot. 67% are right-footed, 33% are left-footed. Quickness of thought and quickness of movement are critical qualities in and around the penalty area. The two complementary qualities are determination and courage. The defender's nightmare is an attacker in the penalty area who possesses all of the 5 great qualities: quickness of thought, quickness of movement, courage, determination, and good technique. It will not be possible to contain the player with all of those qualities. Very few players possess them all. Those who do usually have 2 extra physical qualities: a very quick reaction time and the ability to turn quickly through 90 degrees or more. A low centre of gravity gives a mechanical advantage in turning. The ability to pick up the cues and to anticipate situations can both be enhanced by correct technique practice and the simulation of match situations in practice. Composure produces a smooth and unhurried performance. The performance is characterized by a maximum of speed and power with an effortless grace. Composure in shooting means an awareness in relation to time and space and the position of the goalkeeper. An appreciation, too, of when to set a premium on power and when to set a premium on clinical accuracy. Analysis clearly shows that 50% of goals are scored with first-time shots, that is to say, shots taken without first controlling the ball. This figure does not include headed goals, all of which, of course, are first-time shots. The combined total, therefore, of goals scored with first-time shots, expressed as a percentage of total goals, is 71.5%. These statistics contain a powerful message, especially for coaches, and ought really to lead to a major rethink on many current shooting practices. A special type of composure is required by the player who breaks clear of the defence and is faced with only the goalkeeper to beat. Such a situation always looks easy. It never is. There are 4 elements to consider. 1. The approach. There is usually substantial space between the attacker and the goalkeeper, and therefore no need for close control. It is preferable to play the ball well forward, to be able to run more quickly and at the same time to lift the head so as to observe the position and movements of the goalkeeper. Two, observation. When an attacker breaks clear of the defence, the goalkeeper will narrow the angle of a potential shot by decreasing the distance between himself and the ball. The goalkeeper will want to stay on his feet and be steady and balanced when the shot is taken. Should he get near enough to the ball to eliminate the shot, he will go down at the feet of the attacker and spread his body in a long barrier across the angle of the goal. The attacking player must observe the speed and angle of the goalkeeper's movements and assess the space available. 3. Decision. There are two choices. Shoot the ball past the goalkeeper. Dribble the ball past the goalkeeper. In essence, the ball is passed into the goal. There are two possible routes, either on the ground or over the head of the goalkeeper. Sometimes more space for the shot can be created by changing the angle immediately prior to shooting. There are two important factors to bear in mind. The goalkeeper must be eliminated and the ball must be played out of his reach. As a result of eliminating the goalkeeper, the space and angle for passing the ball into the goal should be increased, not decreased. The attacker has played the ball to his right and made the mistake of decreasing the angle for passing the ball into the goal. Here, he plays the ball to his left, thus increasing the angle and his chances of scoring. To eliminate the goalkeeper, the decision to dribble past him must be taken when the ball is outside of his playing distance, but close enough to the goalkeeper to draw him into committing himself, making it impossible for him to readjust his position. 4. Execution. Once the decision is made, the execution should be characterized by two factors: a positive performance with no change in the decision, and a calm and clinical performance with the prime consideration being accuracy. Our analysis shows that goals scored from situations when a player is clear of the defence as a percentage of total goals is 4.7%. The amount of time spent in practice should reflect this fact. (22.4% of all goals are scored from positions in the area of the far post. For that reason, we have named it the prime scoring area. The prime scoring area is a position level with the far post. It is a narrow corridor, some 3 yards or so wide, extending 8 or 9 yards out from the far post. In every attacking situation, an attacking player should cover that area. Rebound shots and ricochets are highly likely to pass through the prime scoring area. An attacking player should have the area covered for corners, free kicks on the flank, throw-ins in the attacking third of the field, and crosses. Scoring chances may come in the air or on the ground. The chances are often clear opportunities with no challenge from an opponent and the goalkeeper stranded. To place themselves in a good position in the prime scoring area, attackers will sometimes have to pull back from a central position. This attacking player has pulled back to a position in the prime target area. He moves backwards in order to observe the player with the ball and his opponents. His position in the prime scoring area is as far forward as possible without being offside. On other occasions, the attacker will be in a flank position. From that position, he must time his run to be in the prime scoring area just when he anticipates the ball will arrive. This may particularly be the case with crosses. Here the ball is crossed to the back of defence. The defender has allowed himself to be drawn rather too far across the goal. The attacking player must move as late as possible into the prime scoring area. Had he moved too early, he might well have attracted the attention of the defender marking him. When shots are taken from outside the penalty area, an attacking player should anticipate the possible rebound or ricochet by moving into the prime scoring area. Here, a player has shot from outside the penalty area. It should be anticipated that the goalkeeper might not hold the ball and there could be a secondary scoring opportunity in the prime scoring area. In this situation, many attackers would move towards the centre of the goal for rebounds. This is the wrong thing to do, especially when the shot is angled. Number 9, quite correctly, moves into the prime scoring area. In set plays, balls are frequently deflected and there are often partial clearances by defenders, leading to secondary scoring opportunities. Rebounds and ricochets are very much a part of set play situations. There can be no doubt that attacking the prime scoring area will increase the rate of goal scoring. Direct play will markedly increase the number of opportunities to attack the prime scoring area. Remember, many shooting opportunities are missed. The all-important shot is never taken. Remember, even at the highest level at which the game is played, more than 50% of all shots miss the target. Remember, at the highest level, the average number of shots on target needed to score 1 goal is 3.4. Remember, at the highest level, 10 shots on target in a game give an 85.7% chance of winning. Remember, we have never recorded a single match where a team had 10 shots on target and lost the game. It is hoped that coaches will spend more time coaching shooting. The dividends will make the time and effort well worth the while. In Programme 3, we will explore more aspects of winning matches with the winning formula.